player on the 49ers do you think will have the biggest drop-off this year? Do you think it's going to be Debo? He had quite a big year last year. Who's it going to be?
You know, I was actually thinking about this, and I think it's an easy answer is Trent Williams because, number one, similar to Debo, number one, he was rated by PFF as the best player in the NFL, right? So there's only kind of one way to go, from there. Like, you kind of are at the top of your game. Are you going to have that type of season again? But number two, it's the health, right? The health concerns. And I have more health concerns for Trent Williams than I do for Debo. He's an older player. He's had, more injuries in his career overall. And more things have kept him out. And, just hearing his press conference talking about the NFC Championship game and how he really shouldn't have been playing, that was an interesting soundbite for me, because it's like, man, like deep in the season, can we count on you? Can we rely on you? And I feel like that's an aspect where, another year, and he was talking about the different things that he's done on his body to try to get better and try to make sure that he has enough reps in him for a full, 17 game season plus playoffs. So, hopefully all those things worked out. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. And I think Trent Williams is going to do everything he can, but it's just the reality of being however old he is, 35 or whatever age he's at, old athlete at left tackle, and all the ground and pound that he's taken so far in his career. So I would say that he's somebody who I could see having a drop off, missing some games, similar to last year, but maybe even more. So that would be my pick.
I'm going to go with Fred Warner. Like last year, I just feel like, let me preface this by saying, like, I think he'll have a good year, but just if you had to think about somebody falling off, maybe, I just feel like the way last year went and how he kind of was having a rocky year last year. He kind of picked it up at the end, but I mean, and he even talked about it, and he seemed like he was going through it himself with losing, I don't know, it may be losing a little confidence or getting frustrated by his play last year. So, just seeing that play out and just, it's like, all right, now going into this year, are you just going to pick up and just go straight, is your stock going up or what are you going to play like? You're a good player. You could be a great player, but are you going to be a great player? And how, are you going to, he seems like he puts a lot of pressure on himself, which a lot of athletes do, but sometimes that could backfire.
Yeah, let's get a bounce back from him though. Hopefully he'll bounce back. And I think he the standard that he puts himself at, hopefully he'll bounce back, but we'll see.
All right, I'm gonna go offense. On offense, I'm gonna say Elijah Mitchell. He really was terrific last year, but he got hurt a lot. And I think the offense is going to change a lot. He's much more effective when the quarterback's under center, those toss plays to the left and right. From the gun, he wasn't as dynamic last year. I think the offense isn't going to suit him as much anymore. I don't think he's going to get as many carries. I think he's going to drop. I think he's going to have a steep drop off. And then on defense, I'm a little concerned about Travarius Ward. I know he had a really good year last year, and the Niners paid him a lot of money, and he's a good player. But the Chiefs didn't want him back. And I wonder, it's the same thing with D Ford. Like, why? What did they know about Travarius Ward? Why did they want to invest in Justin Reed and not him? And I was eager to see what Travarius Ward can do as a pro in an offseason practice. He was hurt most of the time. And again, why? Why did you have you sign a big contract and the first thing you do is have a soft tissue injury? So I'm curious. I know that he was terrific last year, really good. In 2020, he had a bunch of penalties, kind of like Josh Norman. So I'm curious, is he going to be the next Josh Norman on this team or what?
Let me play God's advocate on that. So Elijah Mitchell, you mentioned him. I would say just two things. Number one, Trey Lance, if he's at quarterback, does his dynamic ability of the running threat, is that going to affect the run game at all? Is that going to open up things at all? Just a little bit for Elijah Mitchell and for all the running backs. Number two, Raheem Mostert not being there from 2 snaps last year, two snaps, I think it was, if that. So when you add a full complementary backfield of hopefully players that are healthier, at least even if they're not healthy, even they miss games and whatnot, we're not expecting somebody to go out in the second game of the season. So if that's the case, I feel like overall having a more depth in the backfield should help Elijah Mitchell, whereas not so much on his plate. I think really what would benefit him the most is having one of our rookie running backs coming out and stepping up, which typically does happen. I mean, it was Elijah last year. And having Trey Sermon have a bounce back year. I have no idea what to expect with Trey Sermon. I have high hopes for him, but I really have not really any expectations. I don't know how he got in the doghouse so early, like what all those issues were, but I'm hoping that like Trey Sermon is, acclimated to the offense, acclimated to what he needs to do, his body, his fitness, whatever it is, physicality, whatever it is. But I'm hoping Trey Sermon could come and be somewhat of a factor for us, which should help things out for Elijah as well. And then Travarius Ward, that's fair. I think everything that you said is fair, but he is still young. And so I would say, different from Josh Norman, which you brought up, he is still young.
I'm not betting against him. I had to pick someone.
Yeah, no, I got you. He is still young, and I think that maybe
Travarius Ward, he gonna be he gonna have Grant on his locker.
He'd be mad. Like, I had to pick someone. It was the segment.
Hey, but has he ever played with a D line like this? We'll see. I don't know.
That's
if
true.
Our D line could be epic.
He set up. There's high expectations. That's the problem. I think there's high expectations for Travarius.